The UN High Commissioner for Human Rights has said his office has recorded violations of international law by Israel in Lebanon, and some cases may amount to war crimes. He's made the comments during a two-day visit to Lebanon. This is coming as Lebanon's army accuses Israel of breaching the terms of an agreement to withdraw its troops from occupied territory. It says Israel is obstructing its efforts to provide security and control in the south. The US brokered agreement doesn't have a timetable for full Israeli withdrawal, and Hezbollah hasn't endorsed the deal. I want to give you a closer look at Israel's recent attacks in Lebanon. Now, in September 2024, Israeli forces triggered pagers and walkie-talkies rigged with explosives. The attack killed dozens of people and injured many more. That same month, Israel assassinated Hassan Nasrallah, the leader of Hezbollah, in the southern suburbs of Beirut. In November 2024, a US brokered ceasefire came into force, but Israel continued its attacks despite the truce, saying it was targeting Hezbollah's sites. And in March of this year, Hezbollah launched missiles towards Israel in response to the killing of Iran's supreme leader and continued attacks in southern Lebanon. Volker Turk, the United Nations High Commissioner for Human Rights, is joining us now from Beirut. Thank you very much indeed for being with us on Al Jazeera. I understand that you've been talking to people who've been directly affected by Israel's actions in southern Lebanon. Can you describe to us what they have been telling you about what their lives have been like as a result?
So I have actually had a chance to talk to those who have been internally displaced as a result of what was happening in southern Lebanon, and in particular the Israeli bombardments. At the height of the crisis, there were 1.2 million people displaced internally. I had a chance to meet those who are still displaced, because of course some of them have been able to return. What they told me is many of them have been displaced many times. It's not the first time. They were displaced in 24, were displaced again and again in 26. So there is a deep sense of exhaustion and despair, I have to say, that I felt from people, anxiety about what the future brings. But also I met a man who, with tears in his eyes, who told me that he had just tried to return 4 days ago, only to be prevented from returning to his village, and he saw how his village had been demolished in front of his eyes. So I do think there is a sense that this conflict absolutely needs to come to an end. The ceasefire has to hold. People have to find a way back to get back their lives and live in peace with its neighbor.
Part of people getting their lives back is also, of course, accountability. And your office has recorded violations of international law by Israel in Lebanon, some cases saying that they may amount to war crimes. What is the next stage, having gathered that evidence? And how confident could people in southern Lebanon be that actually somebody would be held accountable for the damage that has been brought on southern Lebanon?
I think one thing is very clear. I have at the moment an assessment mission that we have dispatched as agreed with the government of Lebanon. And the idea is to look at violations of serious violations of international humanitarian law by all parties to the conflict. And that's incredibly important, not least for truth-telling, but also for documenting and bringing evidence and giving voice to the victims. I mean, that's for us extremely important, because they need to be able to tell their stories. We need to be able to validate what they're telling us, and we need to say that international law applies. And in particular, the fundamental principles of precaution, of distinction, and proportionality. What I've done, I went to a residential building, multi-story building, for example, in a very densely populated area in Beirut, and I talked to people who survived the attack, because this attack was, the building was destroyed, and family members of those who got killed. And what I sensed is the principles of distinction, precaution, and proportionality were absolutely not respected in this case. And that really needs to be brought to light. We need to tell the truth about this, and we need to bring the human side of conflict into the spotlight, which also means, yes, there are issues around accountability, because people should not get away with the commission of crimes.
It's not just about the impact, of course, on the Lebanese people, is it? It's also about the impact on staff from the United Nations themselves, because workers from the United Nations have been targeted or caught up in this violence as well. Just talk to us about the kind of concerns that you have when United Nations staff members are being dragged into a conflict like this, when their primary goal is to try to protect people.
I mean, I've been working for the United Nations for the past 35 years. Over the last few years, I've never imagined that we would end up in a situation where in Gaza, in Yemen, in Lebanon, our colleagues are killed not only once or twice, but frankly, in a way that is totally unfathomable. And I mean, we had, as you know, many hundreds of colleagues killed in Gaza. We had a lot of UN UNIFIL personnel killed in southern Lebanon. My own staff, who have been monitoring the situation over the last 2 years, are telling me how exhausted and traumatized they are. I have 8 colleagues. We have over 74 colleagues currently detained in Yemen under totally fabricated charges against international law. So I think there is indeed a case to be made for the protection not only of UN staff, but all of those who work on humanitarian activities and for human rights. There needs to be much more respect for the work that we are doing, because we are doing it impartially and we are doing it with best conscience in order to serve people all around the world. But that needs to be respected by everyone.
One could argue, of course, that acknowledgement of the respect that UN workers and aid workers and anybody else who's trying to operate in these environments already existed, that those considerations should already be there, and yet we have seen the action that you have just been describing. I mean, how comfortable does it make you to know that there is still a possibility that despite the best intentions of carrying out investigations like yours, despite pulling together the evidence, that this kind of situation is going to be repeated?
I do think that the majority of people around the world care about not only our work, but also about the truth coming out. And that's what we are counting on, because we need to tell the truth and we need to keep telling it, and we need to point out that international law, that nobody is above international law, and there are no exceptions to it. And I do believe that the vast majority of people all around the world care exactly about those things. And that's our strongest ally in all of this.
Volker Turk is United Nations High Commissioner for Human Rights. We appreciate you being with us, sir. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.